All right, well, what's on the bench today? I did a video and showed this cool LED, which I've had for quite a while. I don't remember where I got it, but it's 12 volts DC, and it has a whole bunch of LEDs inside, and it's got some diodes that allow it to go in either direction, and some resistors to drop the voltage. Anyway, I use it all the time just as a load. It's about a 1 watt, 2 watt, something like that load. I decided to go ahead and buy some more because I wanted to do a thing. Okay, and so these things are cheap now. I bought these guys. That one says it's 12 volt at 2 watts. And that one says it's something. Looks like 12 volts at, I don't know what that means. So anyway, what is inside these things? Well, one box is this type and one box is this type. So this, I kind of tried to find, they had a picture of this one, and I tried to order this one, but it got lost in translation. So this is what I got instead. And so instead of a whole bunch of LEDs, it's a fewer number of LEDs. Maybe they're just more efficient. But again, it's got some diode switching and stuff in it. Oh, this one actually has a bridge rectifier in it, right there. So they used to sort of having individuals, and then it just has one. Then it just has one resistor in it. And then this one, it's kind of cool. It's got two stripes of LEDs, and then some individual capacitor diodes on this one. So inside, one of them looks like this. A bridge rectifier. Sorry about my mess up here on the bridge rectifier, 20 ohm resistor, and then a whole bunch of LEDs in parallel in series. And people know this is not a good thing to do. You'll get current hogging and some other things and yada yada yada. But yep, that's what they did. That's this one. That's this one here. All right. And then the other one looks like this. It's got individual diodes and 20 ohms and 20 ohms, and then a bunch of LEDs in parallel, which is, again, is not a great thing to do. You'll get current hogging and yada, yada, yada. Okay, so 10 volts, or 10 LEDs in this one, and a whole bunch in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 3. All right, so let's see. I did rip some of these apart. So I pulled the silicone off of this one, and just to open it up and be able to scope out the schematic. And then the other one looks like this over here. There it is. Looks like this. It's got 2 PC boards, and they have slots in them, so they mate and they go in at 90 degrees, and then you put a little solder blob on one side and a little solder blob on the other side, and that connects them all together. But they're all in parallel. That's the way this thing is designed. Groups of 3. Let's see, this one is this one, right? No, this one. I'm sorry. This one is this one. So groups of 3s, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 8 groups of 3. And yeah, kind of a clever little idea to put in the slot. It's kind of hard to reach in there and put that little, there's a little pad there and a little pad right there, and you got to line them up right, and then you solder pad to pad, and you have to do that twice. A little bit of labor to put this one together. All right, so what should we do with them? Well, let's turn on a power supply and see if the wattage is correct. All right, wattage is the electrical watts, not the optical watts. So if something is 1 watt, it's 1 watt of it consumes 1 watt of electrical power. And then there is a watts to lumens conversion that you can look at to see how bright it is and stuff. But anyway, let's use my old one here, and we will turn on my old one, and let's see here. All right, so this one is nice and bright. All right, so what is he? He is 1.77 watts. That's right there. 12 volts at 148 milliamps, 149 milliamps. 1.78 watts. Okay, that's what the big boy is. Okay, let's try the one that has the two crossed PC boards. Let's put him on. He is 1.16 watts. Okay, and let's put on the one that's kind of a straight shot there. Let's put him on, and he is 2.4 watts. Very nice. 2.4 watts. Interesting. The one that seems to be the one that would give the least amount of light, because it has the least amount of, it only has 10 LEDs, actually has the most wattage. It's the brightest. Well, has the most wattage, I should say. Okay, well, what else can we do with them? We can take a look at their optical properties. If you notice, I don't know if the camera picks it up. Let's look on the viewfinder here. Can you see the difference in color between that one and that one? This is a real yellow color, and this is kind of an orange color. Yeah, difference between yellow and orange. So what does that mean? Why is one yellow, one orange? Well, it's a blue LED with phosphor material on top. I did a video on phosphor materials somewhere down in my 2000 videos. If you have a cool white LED, it has one type of phosphor, usually cerium doped YAG. And if you have a warm white, it means that it is more reddish. And the way that you get more reddish is you add a little bit of red, which is phosphor. So you have a little bit of yellow-green phosphor and then a little bit of red phosphor. Red phosphors are generally a nitride, manganese nitride, or a I don't remember the chemistry anymore. But yeah, nitride phosphors and cerium phosphors are the two types. So this one is a reddish, which means it's probably got a mixture, and we can test that. So let's do that. All right, I'm going to be using a spectrophotometer. I have an Ocean Optics USB 2000, and I'm using an integrating sphere. I did a video on integrating spheres, but it's just a box that it has a white hollow space, allows the colors to mix up before they're measured by the photodetector, which is a fiber optic in this case. So things go in that hole and they come out that hole, and then the spectrophotometer does its thing. And then if we put a light source in front of the input aperture, then we get to see it on a spectrum, okay? I'm going to turn the room lights off so we don't get interfered with anything along those lines. And where's my lights? Turn those off. Oops, okay. Okay, so we will go over here. All right, there we go. I've got a screen capture going, so hopefully we can see this. So here is the live display of the spectrum. You can see there's a spike there at around 450 nanometers, which is the blue LED, and then the hump there, it's kind of a flat spotted hump, and that's because it has two phosphors, one hump around 530 and another hump around 570, something like that, okay? Then they're merged, so they're just kind of a wide hump. And that is my, that's my old bulb. We'll look at the next one, which is the one with the two crossed PC boards. Let's take a look at it. And you can see it's a much warmer white. So it has its hump at 450, but the bigger hump is at 600 nanometers, which is a real red, okay? Orangey red. So it's got a two hump as well. It's got one there around 600. It has another hump right around 540, something like that. And between those two phosphors, you get this nice warm white, more of an incandescent looking bulb. Okay, so that's that one. And then we'll look at the one that's kind of bullet shaped. It has a pointy end, only has 10 LEDs in it. And we'll hook that one up, and there we go. It looks much different as well. It has a main hump around 570, 580, and then another hump around 530 again. So there you go. They're all very different spectrums, and that has to do with the amount of phosphors, the ratio of the yellowy phosphor and the red phosphor, and then how much phosphor you put in, whether you have not much blue left over, you're converting most of that, or whether you still have a lot of blue left behind, like this one here. This is a much more warm, a cool white LED. That's the old one. I want to show you one thing while we're here. I'm going to show you my iPhone. I have an iPhone 15. I'm going to turn on the flashlight on my iPhone 15 and I'll shine that in here. And you'll see something very different. You'll see a picture that looks very different. It actually has 3 humps. So it's using 3 phosphors, maybe even 4 phosphors. So I worked at Philips and Lumileds, and we built the LEDs for Apple. I don't know if they're still buying them from that company or not, but you can see it's a very different spectrum. There's not a gap any longer in the cyan. It has everything from blue to red is kind of even intensity. Yeah, there's some humps here again, but I think it's using probably using 4 phosphors to obtain this. And why do you want such a broad band like that? Well, you're using it as a flash for a camera, and you don't want to exclude wavelengths. You want to have a nice constant wavelength, power with wavelength. So like a xenon flash is almost flat on top. Xenon outputs the same frequency everywhere. So yeah, it's a much better thing. So I'm not sure, what other camera makers are doing or cell phone makers are doing, but Apple really understands color science. All right, well, there you go. A little bit of optics for the day, and playing with these cool rubbery LEDs.